Hi, my name is Kaylee, and you're watching the recording of our Youth Code Jam Puzzle Club activity. And today we'll be doing a Masyu puzzle. So if you haven't heard or seen Masyu before, it looks something like this. This first picture up here at the top is the puzzle that we start with, and our goal is to draw a path that goes through all of these circles and eventually connects back to itself. And there are a couple of rules that we'll go over in just a second. So, like I said, this is how it works. You'll be given a grid with some black and white dots, and your job is to draw that path through all the dots that comes back to itself. And there are the two types of dots that you saw. We have the black dots and the white dots. Black dots must be corners of the path, but the path has to be straight before and after the dot. White dots must be the straight parts of the path, but the path has to turn before or after the white dot. And we'll go over some examples of that in just a minute. So if that sounds confusing, that's totally okay. First, I have a couple of strategies for solving Masyu puzzles. Experts suggest that you would work from the outside in. So start with the border and work your way into the middle of the grid. Start with what you know, and then you can reevaluate. A lot of the puzzles that we do together are kind of like that. You do one thing, you look at it again, and then you try something else. And also, don't be afraid to try something and then erase if you need to. That happened to me a couple of times, and that's how we learn and figure out what works. So I talked about those two rules briefly with the black and the white dots. So here is a little bit more about the rule for the black dots. So the black dot itself needs to be the corner of a path, and the path next to it must go straight for at least one tile. So we have some examples of things that are okay to do. So we have, in all of these cases, the black dot is the corner, so the path changes directions when it hits the black dot. But in the squares immediately next to the black dot, the path goes straight. So these three examples are what you could do when you see a black dot. And these three examples will not work for this puzzle, and I'll go through them one by one. So for this first one, what was the black dot is the corner, but the tile right next to it also has an edge, whereas the path next to it must go straight. So that's why we can't use this one. This one here, for the same reason, our black dot, the path next to it is a corner, where this rule says the path next to it must go straight. So that's why this one doesn't work. And this one here, the path next to it goes straight, but the black dot is not part of a corner of any sort. And this rule here tells us that the black dot has to be a corner piece. So that's why this example doesn't work. And here are some examples of how to use the white dots in this puzzle. So our two rules for the white dots are over here on the orange side. The dot itself is the straight part, and the path before or after it must turn. So you see some examples of what you could do with the white dot up here. In all of these, the white dot is on one of the straight parts of the path, as you can see. And with these ones, the path before or after it will turn. So over here on both sides of the white dot, the path turns. Here the path will turn, and then presumably one of these squares will involve the path turning one way or the other. And if it doesn't, that's when we get into this example of what we can't do. So with this example, the white dot itself is part of the straight part, so that's fine. But the path before and after it is not turning in any direction. So we know that we can't do this. With this one here also, the path, or the white dot is on the straight part of the path, but if we look at the squares immediately next to it, the path just runs straight through. It doesn't turn until we get one more over. So the path would have had to turn here or here for this one to be okay. And for this last example here, the white dot is not part of the straight part of the path. It's on an edge. So, it's on a corner. So that's why we can't do this one. And it'll take some trial and error to remember these rules, but it will make more sense as we go along. We're going to go through an example of this actually, just so you can see a little bit of what the process might look like. So here's our empty puzzle. It's got some black dots and some white dots, and then a bunch of these really tiny dots in the white squares for us to fill in the path with. So our tips and tricks told us to start on the outside, and I'm looking at this white dot here on this side, and I see that since it's a white dot, the path has to go straight through it, right? Which means the path would either have to go like this, or the path would have to go like this. And well, the path can't go like this because this is the edge. There's no path going that way. So our path has to go up and down like that. Same with over here. This dot that's also this white dot that's also on the edge, the path has to go straight through it. So the path would either go straight through this way or straight through this way. If it goes this way, it would hit the edge. So the path has to go this way. And same for this white dot. If we go this way, we'll hit the edge. So the path has to go up and down through it. Next, we see I filled in this piece here because we know that the black dots have to be corners. So I know that the path is going in this way. It would either have to turn to the left or to the right. It can't turn this way because that's not on the grid anymore. So I drew it going this way. And the same goes for this black dot. I know it has to be a corner. And so if we're coming in this way, we have to go either to the left or to the right. Left's the only place we can go. So let's go ahead and fill that in. And this black dot is also going to be a corner piece. So I see 4 ways that this black dot might branch out into a path. However, I know that it can't go this way because we're trying to draw one continuous line connecting all of the dots. And so if I draw the path this way, then the path is going to hit itself, and we're not allowed to do that. So I know it either has to go one of these 3 ways. But since it's a corner, I know that it will either go like this in this L shape, or it will go in an L shape like this. In both cases, the path comes this way through the black dot. So that's why I added this here. And then I'm not sure if it goes this way or this way yet. So I'm not going to fill that in quite yet. I don't see any other absolutes that I can do that I can fill in on our graph or on our grid. So now I'm going to start guessing. And you can do this however you want, but because our suggestions told us that it might be good to start with the outside first, I see this dot and this like partial path, and I see this dot and this partial path on the very outside. And so I'm thinking that, well, maybe these connect. And I could be wrong, but you never know till you try. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that in and see if that helps me to fill in any more information. Well, after doing that, I see this white dot that has to be part of a straight path. I can't draw a straight path this way, so the path has to go like that. Same with this white dot here. The path has to go straight through it, but it can't go this way because it'll hit the path again, which is kind of like a wall now. So I'll draw it this way. And then we come back to the corner piece, the black dot that we found earlier. And since the path is coming this way, we have to go either left or right to make a corner. If we go this way, we'll hit the path. We don't want to do that. So I guess we have to go this way. And white dots, the path has to go straight through. So we can just keep drawing that line straight up just like that. And so now, let's see. I want to keep doing the outside, so I'm going to guess that maybe this piece connects over here. So let's try it. And I noticed that there's a problem. There's a red circle around this white dot. If you remember the rules for our white dots, it has to be on the straight part, which is fine, but then the square to the left or to the right has to include a turn. And that doesn't happen here. So that's why this one is highlighted in red to let us know that something is wrong. Even without that, though, I can see that something is wrong because I've closed off this path, but these dots are not connected to my path, and all the dots need to be connected. So I know that something is wrong there. So I'm going to go ahead and erase that line that I just made. And what are some other options that I have? Well, I could connect these two dots right here. It looks like that follows all of the rules. And so I'll connect these dots here. And then after I do that, I see this white dot here. For the path to go straight through it, it can't go this way because there's kind of like a wall here. We're gonna hit the path. So I have to go up and down. And this black dot, we know black dots are corner pieces. And so if we're coming here this way, we have to go either left or right. Can't go left, so we have to go right. And that completes that part. And now we just have two ends of the path that are left to connect. So I'm going to draw it like this. But then this red circle tells us that something is wrong. If you remember our rules for the black dots, the two rules are that it has to be a corner piece and that the path has to be straight next to it. So it is a corner piece, but the path right next to it here is not straight. So if I redraw this to make it straight, that follows all of our rules, and it looks like we are good to go. So this website is the one that I used to do our Masyu puzzle today. There are a ton of free puzzles on there. You can pause the video and type this into your browser if you want to try some more on